Before I say anything, I'd like to preface that I haven't watched season 1, as I didn't and still don't think I need to, as aside from some changes that are still relevant in season 2, I've already read the comics long before the show even came out and loved them. In fact, looking closer, Invincible is probably my favorite comic series of all time. And to be completely honest, I was dreading this show, as the trend of live action or just adaptations in general hasn't had the best track record, with the beloved source material of many being butchered every time. So I wasn't really thrilled to see the cycle repeat itself, so I avoided it completely. Not really out of principle, but because I just didn't really care. I had already read the comics, and watching a washed out derivative version of something I loved just didn't seem fun to me. So you might be thinking, why did you watch season 2 then? I don't know. And upon watching the first 4 episodes of season 2, my suspicions have been confirmed and that this show is complete garbage. Invincible takes place in a world not so different from our own, populated with superheroes. The story revolves around Mark Grayson, the son of Nolan Grayson, the strongest hero on the planet and a valiant member of the Guardians of the Globe, a team constructed of Earth's mightiest heroes, all sworn to protect it. The show really picks up when Mark's powers kick in at work and immediately goes out to be a crime fighter like his father. Nolan, upon learning this revelation, takes Mark under his wing, training him, but announced to Mark to be a soldier for the Viltrumite Empire. As it's revealed after Nolan murders the Guardians of the Globe, that Nolan's dominance as the strongest person on the planet is due to him being a Viltrumite, a race of people who conquer planets using a singular Viltrumite, sent to infiltrate, weaken, and eventually take over, destroying any form of resistance along the way. Mark, upon learning this, doesn't take it too well. To cut a long story short, Mark gets his ass beat. Nolan calls Debbie a pet and leaves the planet, not being able to kill his son he's grown to love so much. And that's where season 2 picks up, with a lone Nolan drifting through space, tired, hungry, and feeling the effects of what he did on Earth, the guilt looming over him. He even almost lets himself fall into a black hole trying to kill himself. He's stopped when a damaged ship drifts into the black hole's gravitational pull. Nolan saves the ship filled with bug-like creatures that guide him back to their planet. Upon arriving, Nolan attempts to leave, but is urged to stay by the bug creatures. Mark reunites with Nolan, hugging him for the first time in so long, but simply can't stay due to the pain of his father's actions, and tries to leave, only being brought back when told that everyone on this planet will die. When the Viltrumites come to take him to be executed for his crimes, leaving his post his sworn duty, and with that stays to help his father, not without being showed that he has a new brother, Oliver, a child Nolan had with the bug creature. Mark can't even have a proper mental breakdown as the Viltrumites attack. To cut a long, boring story short, Mark gets his ass beat twice, Nolan bails him out twice, Mark gets the upper hand but gets folded. No worries, Nolan rectifies this but gets folded in the process, and that's all 4 episodes so far. I didn't cover the first 3, as every problem I have with this show is in this one episode. Where do I even begin? The story is honestly a 1-to-1 adaptation, but my problem is just the way the scenes play out in the show that deviate heavily from the comic, which I believe were done better there. One example being the switching around of the side characters, like the attack on Mark and Nolan was done by 2 no-name Viltrumites, individuals that are meant to be disposable, but in the show replaced one of them for Thula. She's quite the minor character, but, spoilers by the way, a Viltrumite that helps Mark overthrow Robot. When Robot takes her fellow Viltrumite's children away, it's not really that detrimental to the story, but still annoying nonetheless, when you know how the event should play out, but they just take a 180 into this, and she dies in the most unceremonious way possible, via chin evisceration. And I think this is a prime time to talk about the action, in that it's awful. The animation is so flat. The comic was vibrant, deep, rich, earthy tones that in its later issues had some really beautiful panels. So when I heard that Invincible was getting an adaptation, I genuinely didn't know how they were going to recreate this. And the answer is that they just didn't. Gone are the beautiful panels with a consistent color palette that established a certain tone for a generic heavenly utopia. Do you remember the caves that Mark took Oliver and his mother to? Do you remember the dark, foreboding, mystical vibe that was established via the dialogue, and the glowing hieroglyph that lit up upon entry? Yeah, well now it's just generic cave with blue crystals, and I know to a lot of you that this just doesn't matter, but it's the little details that count and show that they paid attention to the source material. Not only does this look uninteresting, but the characters look so out of place. This is where I'll have to talk about the animation. It's so stiff. Movements that are supposed to be smooth feel so rigid and awkward. Even the action scenes, to many the highlight of the series, are so weak in comparison to the source material that hosts some of the greatest action scenes in all of comics. It's genuinely sad to see how they massacred my boy. Anyone who's read the comics knows this shit gets crazy. Like, I genuinely don't know how they're gonna adapt Invincible or Mark vs. Conquest 1 or 2. But honestly, look how cool it is. The blood, the damage, the facial expressions, and the body language in comparison to this piece of shit. Like, how are you gonna make flying boring? They can't even adapt the characters right. Bulletproof is supposed to be big, muscular, and easily over 6 feet, but is somehow the same size as Rexplode. Lucan was a massive, towering behemoth, but undoubtedly pure muscle. Now he's some fat African uncle. This nigga looks like one of the voice actors. Aren't the Viltrumites an empire of zealots, steadfast on universal domination, to spread, conquer, grow, and expand, encompassing everything, their success being attributed to their peak physicality, strength, and durability? So what the fuck is this guy doing? How do you even get fat as a Viltrumite? Wouldn't your body be burning calories like a motherfucker on a consistent rate, given how high maintenance their race are? Again, it's those little details where they just deviate from the source material, making changes that didn't need to be made. It's annoying as they didn't need to draw him like this. Adam Eve now wears shorts instead of her old design. Why? I think it's time to talk about the dialogue. It's more or less the same, but what really bugs me is the constant swearing. Don't get me wrong, I swear all the time, unfortunately, and don't mind when characters swear in movies and TV shows, but it has to be done in moderation. But in Invincible, they swear all the time, especially Mark. Given what's happened to him, it makes sense, but again, a change I don't like. In the comics, he literally only swore once. Invincible are very pivotal points of his story. They had long texts of characters pleading their cases, pouring their hearts out, some of them just spitting heat, all gone to make way for this weak ass writing. Like, what was the point in dropping the F-bomb at the end of this scene?
Don't speak. Listen. My name is General Krieg. You've survived your first true battle and proven yourself worthy of your Viltrumite heritage.
Go fuck it.
And this is where the voice acting really started to grate on me, in that the characters just didn't sound right. For characters like the Mauler twins, Nolan, Mark, and Cecil, the rest just didn't fit their appearances. Like Krieg and that bug woman. It seems like they have a limited amount of voice actors, which would be fine, but they don't even try to sound different. I always imagined the bugs to sound Shakespearean like the Jedi from Star Wars. It seems like such a silly detail, but you gotta understand, if you're gonna depict different races and cultures, a planet-conquering zealot race shouldn't sound like they live in LA. Krieg, in my opinion, should sound conniving, sneaky, and weaselly, like Doc Ock from Spectacular Spider-Man.
Welcome to your lair, Master Planner.
Thank you, Tinkerer.
I still don't get it, Doc. Why didn't you break out with Kraven and me?
Ah, Electro. Always so charmingly uncomplicated. When building a secret empire of super criminals, the safety and obscurity of a hospital bed has its advantages.
Which is crazy, because Spectacular Spider-Man nailed everything I have a problem with in this show. Excellent adaptation of its source material. All the characters look, act, and sound as they should, with some Season 1's animation was a little wonky at sometimes, but overall makes a valiant attempt. Peter's swinging, instead of arcing swings, he just glides through the air at some point, and it looks as whack as it sounds. But in Season 2, yeah, this shit is raw. The action is 10 times better, the characters are all on point, every plotline has you invested, mostly. What I'm trying to say is that you should watch Spectacular Spider-Man. In conclusion, the Invincible TV show is complete and utter garbage. If you want to read a good comic book about a boy coming to terms with the revelation that his life up until this point has been a lie, just read Invincible. Want to watch a kid struggle with the trials and tribulations of having an enormous amount of power and responsibility thrust upon them? Watch Spectacular Spider-Man. And if you want to watch more banger videos, subscribe. We're almost at 100k subscribers. Not really, just slightly off, but with your help we can rectify that in no time. Okay, that's it. See ya. Fucking garbage. Knock knock. Thanks for watching the video. Just checking in to ask if you'd be willing to subscribe to my Patreon. Okay, calm. Jokes aside, just here to tell you that I have a Patreon. As most of you know, I don't make any money off this channel, essentially making me broke. But I don't have to, as for the small price of £12 a month. Yes, only 12.
Brother, this guy stinks!
I know 12 is pretty steep, but hear me out. Behind the scenes footage, process videos, director's commentary, unreleased videos, access to all my scripts, and early access to all my videos 2 days before they get dropped. I can't speak.
Oh, bro.
And early access to all my videos 2 days before they drop on his channel. But yeah, I go over 4 hours worth of content on Patreon, and it'll only grow as you guys continue to support me. And also, don't feel like you need to donate. Just you guys subscribing, liking, and watching my videos is enough. Well, no, it's not, but I kind of have to say that. But yeah, it's optional, but it would really help if you pledged. But again, no pressure. Also subscribe. I'm trying to make it to 10k before the end of the year. Okay, that's it. See ya.